Hi everyone, it's Miss Greta, school-based occupational therapist. In today's video, I'm going to talk about a lot of tasks and activities that you can do with your child at home using Play-Doh. All of the activities that we're going to go over use items that you can find around your house and are simple to prepare. Yet all of these things target so many important areas and performance skills that your child needs to continue to strengthen as they prepare for kindergarten and even the preschool age as well. All right, thank you very much. I hope you're able to use some of these activities with your child. Okay, there's so many different ideas you can do with Play-Doh, but this is an easy one with things around the home. I made this out of green construction paper, and I use this with the kids a lot. It's a pea pod, so then I just have them break off little pieces of Play-Doh and make them into small circles. And this only takes a few minutes, but there's so many important skills here. They're using two hands together, eye-hand coordination to place the little peas. Okay, so that's one simple activity. And it might take them a little bit to get the balls small enough. You can show them the size that you want, or they might make bigger ones, and that's okay too. All right. And also basically any Play-Doh tools that you have at home are good. So the next few activities are going to have them make the Play-Doh into a big long snake. And this too takes a little bit. Sometimes they're much larger than you want them, or they do them too small. And then any Play-Doh accessories you might have at home are good. This is a cookie cutter one. Or they have really safe scissors for Play-Doh you might have with your Play-Doh kit. And this is good because they're learning how to use a pair of scissors. They're using two hands together, motor coordination. All different kinds of things are being targeted by this. Okay. Also, cookie cutters are a great way to use Play-Doh. And you can just have any cookie cutters you have around the home. They don't have to be any that you buy just for a Play-Doh kit. I happen to have a few here that are from a Play-Doh kit. And this too, they're pressing through their fingers, strengthening their muscles a little bit. So this is something that's fun. And this time of year too, you can just do it outside on the patio or on the porch, so it's not too much of a mess. All right, so there's some Play-Doh things, and they can make up little stories with their characters. All right. So, like I said, you can Google image Play-Doh templates, but what I did here is I just made my own at home. So, let's clear all that away. Okay, so some fun activities. If they're still learning the letters in their name, I made this, and then what they would do is roll out. They would need two pieces for this one, and this is good too because it kind of does a little visual perception. See, I kind of made it too big, so they need to judge how big of a piece they need to make. And then there's that. All right, now you can do all different things. If they are still learning their shapes, you can make one for shapes, and same thing, have them roll out the Play-Doh. And these are a little bit smaller, so depending on how refined their movements are, you can make your shapes a little bit smaller. So you get the idea. Circles are a little bit harder. They would need a really long one. And you say to them, I want you to make the circle with just one piece of Play-Doh. And then they would have to do it in one piece. So this is really good for fine motor skills, visual perception, learning their shapes, learning their letters. And then if they're a little more advanced and they know their whole name, they could do all the letters in their name. Now this is one that I just did with a magic marker and a piece of scrap paper. Or if you have a printer at home, you could print one out so it's a little bit neater. But they don't mind, and either way it's fine. So same thing, we'll do Alex here. And same thing, they would roll out the Play-Doh. And it's okay if it's not perfect. And then some of these get a little bit more tricky depending on what letters are in their name. And see, that's going to be too short, so you would have them make it a little bit longer. So they would learn their name as well as getting a little fine motor skills in here as well. All right, we won't do the whole name, but, and it's kind of personalized too, so they like that. All right, if they're a little more advanced and they already know their numbers, here's one I did with the number, and you can challenge them. You could do their age, you can do how many dogs they have, any kind of number you want. And this one I would say to them, let's try to do it in one piece. You could do it in two pieces, but it takes a little more skills to be able to do this in one piece. And if they're just ready to do it in two pieces or lots of little pieces, that's okay too. And also what I put on this one, I put a 10 set, and if they're already counting or learning how to count, then they could say, okay, that's the number 3. You could trace it and then say, well, let's put 3 balls in here. So 1, 2, 3, and then you can count them and you can trace and you could recognize the number and get an idea of how many balls that would be. All right, and then here's another one I found online, which you can print out, but I just made it myself. And I also made the number that I can tape and put a different number there. So you can say, let's put 4 apples on the tree. And then you can keep switching the number out. And then, oh, I should be using red, but they could do their 4 apples or 4 birds. And that's a way to learn their numbers, and they're still getting the fine motor skills in. All right, and one more thing. Oh, 2 more. Here's another great idea with things you have around the house. Okay, you're supposed to use spaghetti noodles, and I don't have spaghetti noodles, so I used a toothpick and some fettuccine noodles, but plain spaghetti noodles are far better and less pointy than toothpicks. But you take the Play-Doh, you have them stick some spaghettis in, and then if you have some beads laying around the house, you stack the beads on there. Or if you have some penne pasta, you could stick those on the spaghetti. So you're kind of using fine motor skills, you're using those fingers, you're getting your tripod grasp in there and your fine pincher. And if you have a spaghetti, it'd be really tall, and they can make patterns with the shapes and the colors of the beads. So that's pretty neat, and all things you have around the house. And like I said, these are cards that I have that I use with kids that I had bought online. But actually, like I showed you, you can make up your own and put them in there. And then this one actually shows you the pieces of Play-Doh. Like the B would take 3 pieces. Or the number 5 would take 3 pieces as well, and then you can count. So you can really mix this up and have a lot of fun with it and cater it to the child. And one last thing I want to show you, if they're a little more advanced, this is motor planning. So what I do with this, I mean, you can get really intricate and do 3-dimensional shapes, but just to start out, you would give them the Play-Doh. This would be their example, and you'd say, I'd like you to build this. So the first thing they're going to see is there's 4 circles of Play-Doh. All right, and you help them out with this, and maybe you need to show them the first time, and then next you can do a triangle or a star if they're really doing great with it, or just start off simple and just do Play-Doh, 1 line, and Play-Doh. Then you would have them take the toothpicks, and they're going to build exactly what they see over there. So this is a great one as well. Okay, these are just some ideas that you can use with things around the house, and Play-Doh's always fun. Okay, I wanted to add 2 more things in with the Play-Doh, and here's one. If they're doing well with writing, have them make like a big pancake. And if you don't have a Play-Doh rolling pin, you can use your own rolling pin. Whoops. Or some kind of cylinder or a soup can, anything like that, to roll it out. And then you can take a pencil. I have a chopstick here that I got at the grocery store, and they can have them write their name. So I'm just going to do Rose. So this way it practices their writing skills, but it also gives it a little bit of texture when they're writing in the Play-Doh. There's a little bit of resistance. So there's a little feedback to their muscles. So that's something else. And then you can roll it over again. They can pick a letter out of a bucket and do that letter, or they can do shapes. But this is really good because it kind of gets them used to holding a pencil, and doing it in the Play-Doh just gives that extra resistance and texture and feedback to their muscles. And then finally, here's one more thing, which is pretty neat. So you would have them roll it out. And then I did the letter U here. You can do any letter, or you could do a shape. And I have it in just the lid from a plastic shoebox. And then I have a marble. And I made this path pretty deep so the marble stays in. And then you can have them do this. Whoop, got stuck. Hold on. And practice, and this is kind of like eye-hand coordination and motor skills, and they're using two hands together. So this is really good too. Or you could do a circle, or you can make it even bigger and have a couple different mazes. And this is pretty neat too, because they have to use the just right amount of pressure and movement to do that. So that's pretty neat too. All right, thank you everyone.